You remember when people said that Donald Trump was going to be better on X, Y, and Z, better on Syria, better on Russia, you know, relations with Russia, better on LGBTQ issues. They even said he was going to be better than Hillary on race. And I find it fascinating that on days like today, when those people, some of the same people who say forget completely about identity, they're silent on days like today. Because on days like today, Donald Trump has banned transgender Americans from working or serving in the military. Now, we can have a full-blown discussion over the valor or lack of valor, the honor, the nobility or the lack of nobility in terms of serving in the military. We can talk about American empire. We can speak about all those things. But what we won't do is speak about those things to the detriment of the very real lives that are affected by this decision by Donald Trump. You know, it's one thing to speak about American empire, but then it's another thing to speak about that in isolation from the real material and tangible effects that are being felt by transgender soldiers. Because they're actually real people. There was a Navy SEAL who came out and said to Donald Trump, to say it to his face, a transgender Navy SEAL. The RAND Corporation has put out plenty of data that shows that the cost associated with the transition for a transgender soldier, total, for all, if every soldier who's currently in the U.S. military went through a transition during their time in the military, the cost would only represent less than 1% of the overall total healthcare costs for our soldiers. So Donald Trump tweeting that this morning, talking about it's an economic issue, is complete and utter crap. It's not an economic issue. It's not a budget issue. It's a wedge issue that Donald Trump is using for two things. Number one, he's using it to bolster his own personal approval ratings, because there's nothing that's going to motivate his base more than him attacking the LGBTQ community, particularly the transgender community. And so now he's riled up his base, and they've come to his support because the evangelical Christians, white evangelical Christians, see the entire LGBTQ community, as perverts that need to be excommunicated from American society because this is God's country. And so now that Donald Trump has given them this bone, it's a bone for them, but for the people that it's affecting, it's very detrimental. But now that Donald Trump has done this, you know, they full-on support Donald Trump. They love Donald Trump because this is all that matters to them. Now, that's number one. The second part of this is that Donald Trump, according to Politico, is doing this in order to muster up the votes that he needs to get funding for his border wall. And so in order to put up his xenophobic, racist wall at the border, he is hurting one of the most marginalized, if not the most marginalized communities in America. Not much that I can say about this without devolving into four-letter words towards the President of the United States. But because I can't speak directly to the President of the United States, what I can do is speak directly to my audience, which is a hodgepodge of progressives, liberals, the left, leftists, et cetera, et cetera. I can speak to us and affirmatively say that anyone who tacitly supports Donald Trump, indirectly supports Donald Trump through omission, meaning that you may never say anything positive about Donald Trump, but you're intentionally being quiet with your critique. You offer no critique or criticism of Donald Trump. Anyone who indirectly, directly, tacitly, or through omission supports Donald Trump still, go to hell. And I know there's going to be plenty of other occasions, plenty of other issues that Donald Trump is going to use to hurt Americans. This is not going to be the last time that he hurts a particular set of Americans. But I want us to understand that this attack is 100% based on the identity of the transgender community. This is not an attack on the deep state. This is not an attack on the military-industrial complex. This is not an attack on the economic grievances of Group A at the expense of Group B. This is 100% about using the transphobic fears of the evangelical church and evangelical Republicans to get the votes that he needs in order to get his racist wall built. And just yesterday, or the day before, in the last 48 hours, I've lost track of time, we have some people in the progressive community saying that we should support Donald Trump. You know why? Because he's using Twitter to fight the deep state. And somehow that's the progressive thing to do. Somehow we've gotten into this twisted world where the progressive thing to do is to support Donald Trump because he's attacking the deep state through Twitter. You gonna stand by that message now? Probably, because this is really what happens. You get people. There's actually two tiers to this. There's two tiers to this analysis. So let me give the first tier. The first tier is this. Number one, you get people who hate, and I'm talking about progressives here. We understand how to diagnose Republicans and conservatives. We thoroughly understand how to diagnose neoliberals. But there's been a void of critique of progressivism, and I'm happy to deliver because I expect more out of people that I roll with and I run with in the circle. I expect more of my allies. Hell, I expect more of myself. So, you know, if I hold myself to a standard, then surely I'm going to hold the people around me to a high standard. And I haven't been doing that. I have no reason not to do it now. I can just say whatever the hell I want to say because of reasons. And I can't fill you in with all the details. You have to be paying attention and watching the shows and watching the videos. But all of that prelude to say this, you have a segment of people who have found a way to refine their hatred of the Democratic establishment and Hillary Clinton in the presence of someone as draconian as Donald Trump. And they had to find a way for their hatred to trump everything else, no pun intended. They could not possibly find a way to criticize Donald Trump no matter what he did, because in their infantile minds, they feel any critique of Donald Trump is a tacit support for the DNC. And we all know the greatest evil in America right now is Hillary Clinton. Hillary Clinton is the greatest evil in America because, she's the one that even though Donald Trump took away the transgender community right to serve in the military, the real problem is Hillary Clinton. Because you just don't see, because you're sheeple. The reason you don't see it is because you don't see clearly. You don't have the eyes and the vision of Jean Grey. But people in their irrational hatred, because there's a level of disgust, anger, and I will fight these people tooth and nail to get done what we need to get done. But then you have those who have gone over to their irrational range of anger and hatred for the DNC and for Hillary Clinton. And what they have been doing for the longest is finding a way. How do we exist in a world of Trump and not oppose Donald Trump? Because if we oppose Donald Trump, then that means we're somehow helping Hillary Clinton. This is a literal psychosis that's happening right now. And I constantly have people tell me, Ben, leave this alone. Why don't you, just let them be? It's just a few people. Well, here's the problem with that, is that our silence on this all this time has led to this growing and festering to the point that it has become a malignant cancer that is destroying the progressive movement. All because of some irrational, knee-jerk need to always blame everything. So somehow today, you have people who could look at this, what Donald Trump did today, and look at the fact that the Senate is still trying to repeal their health care, but they have found a way to make Donald Trump banning transgender Americans from serving in the military about Hillary damn Clinton. People who are like that, H.A. good men, really need an intervention. They need help. It's beyond my professional expertise. I can't help you guys. And I can't help that growing psychosis. I can't. I actually literally had several people today who said in response to discussing what Donald Trump did to the transgender community and stating how disgusting he was, I had people actually say, yeah, but Hillary, or really it was, yeah, but liberals. This is really the fault of liberals. That level of psychosis, man, has no place in progressivism. It's irrational. It is deranged. So anyway, the community that is being hurt today is being hurt because of their identity. And this is why you cannot reject identity politics. What you can reject and what you can fight against is the weaponization of identity politics. But we have such an obtuse time, and I think it's intentional obtuseness. I think people are doing this on purpose because they want their particular narrative to be the narrative that everyone clings to. Right? That's what they really want. And so they're intentionally obtuse, and they ignore the fact that there are real people, real lives who are being hurt because of their identity. And yet you still have people on the left. I haven't even gotten to the right. I haven't even gotten to the alt-right. I'm talking about people who fancy themselves as progressives who are actually saying that we should completely dismiss identity, because if we dismiss identity, that allows them to never have to critique people being attacked based on their identity. They never have to come for Donald Trump.